back to the Remote No Pressure Podcast. Bill, it's great to see you.
Hey, it's good to be back.
It's always good to see you. You're coming to Texas with us.
Sounds like.
I'm very excited about this.
Yes.
I'm very, very excited. I'm very excited that you're going to be there, and because it was not going to be the same. And so I'm glad that, thank you very much to Jennifer, your wife.
Yes.
But it's going to be a good trip, man.
It is.
I can't believe it. That's our 40th birthday, dude.
Well,
when is your birthday?
June.
June.
Just a little after.
Mine's May 4th. It's that Monday.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
no
so
kidding.
this is it. And we talked about doing something cool for our 40th, like Beaver Island or something cool like this. So this is really cool, man. Yeah. Well, you've never been to Texas except for Tyler.
Yeah,
you went to Tyler.
Dallas a couple times, Tyler.
Oh, that's right. Who did you go see down in Dallas?
Who did I go see?
Did you go see somebody in Dallas? Your friend of yours?
Yeah, Richie Bates.
Yeah.
Old friend of mine. Remember?
Old Richie, yeah.
Old Richie.
Is he still down there?
Yeah, he's probably up in Wichita Falls area.
Okay. You ever talk to him anymore or not really?
Not in like 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
It's crazy how people come in your life and then kind of leave your life.
I know. If it wasn't for him, though, I wouldn't have the job that I have.
Really?
Yep. He got me that job. He was doing an album in a studio, and that was a weird glitch we had on the audio side. You probably didn't experience that on the web or anything.
Nope, probably not.
But yeah, he was doing an album in the studio, and my roommate at the time was offered the job that I have.
Okay.
And he didn't want it because he was an atheist, and it was in the church.
Yeah.
And so I took it.
Who was your roommate?
Elvin. You remember Elvin?
Oh, that's right. He got offered the job?
Yep.
Oh, big L. No one cares about this stuff, though. Like, we're talking about all these names. I feel like you and I are having coffee at Starbucks, and these people are like overhearing a conversation they're trying not to listen to, but we're talking really loud.
These guys are boring.
It's like the people at the restaurant that talk really loud, and you try not to listen in on the conversation, but you're kind of forced to. So I apologize. I apologize to you guys for that. But anyways, hey, we took the boys out. I went out. Funny story. I took the boys out ice fishing last weekend.
How'd that go?
So we
was there enough ice?
Well, yeah, there was for 1 week, and it's been a weird year. And as everyone knows on the podcast, I'm not a huge fan of ice fishing. It's probably my least favorite type of fishing because it's cold. But, however, I've been stuck in the house for quite a while, and I'm ready to be out of the house and get these boys doing stuff. So we went ice fishing. So we found out about this awesome private pond not too far from here. And it was a private lake, and my father-in-law got permission to go out there and like fish this thing. Okay, so we go out there. We set up the shanty. My father-in-law bought this big 10 by 10 shanty, 10 foot by 10 foot. It's a monster shanty.
Wow.
We dig our holes, put up our tip ups, everything that we needed to do. We had 8 tip ups. So what happens is for all the people in the South, especially in Texas, all of our friends down there, you have to actually drill this hole in the ice. And there's only like 6 inches of ice, but you have to drill a hole. Then you have to set up this tippet that if a fish bites it, then the flag goes up. Anyways, long story. But it takes a long time. So we were an hour and a half in before we could even wet a line. Before, because we had kids too, so we sit down, and this kid, he's probably, well, I say kid, he's like 22 years old, comes walking out on the ice, dressed super nice, and I'm out of breath. My father-in-law's sweating. We've been, trying to get the kids taken care of.
Yeah.
And the guy said, "Is that your truck that's at the boat launch?" My father-in-law's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. You're trespassing." And I guess he got permission from the wrong person.
Oh.
And we got kicked off the ice. The one time we went ice fishing all year, and I felt so bad for my father-in-law because my kids they're like 10 and 7.
Yeah.
And it was the only time we were going to get to ice fishing. He bought us all this nice ice fishing gear for Christmas. Oh. We get out on the ice and we got kicked off, and my father-in-law was so upset, and he was, the kids are there, so he's like biting his tongue, trying not to start dropping a string of F-bombs, because it's like we just set all of this stuff up and we didn't get one flag, we didn't catch one fish, nothing, and I felt really bad for him, but he handled it pretty well.
That's good. That's tough.
And I did too. And it's funny because with a 7-year-old, I think anyone that's ever taking their kid fishing knows that as soon as everything starts going okay and you can take a breath, they want to go home.
Yep.
So we're all stressed in this high stress situation, like really like ticked off, depressed, bummed out. And my 7-year-old goes, I'm kind of glad he told us to leave. I was ready to go home, Dad. I'm like, oh my gosh.
So, did he get permission from even a property owner, or?
So he works at this place here in Grand Rapids, and I don't know what happened. He got permission from his friend who knew the owner, and his friend was there too. And his friend is like, "Well, I talked to her on Facebook," and as soon as I heard that, I thought this isn't going to end well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. When you start quoting Facebook conversations,
let me pull it out.
It's probably not going to go
right here.
Right. Exactly. So, anyways, that was my one ice fishing story from the year.
I still haven't gone. I've never been ice fishing.
Are you serious?
Yep.
You should come out with us sometime. This year, I didn't go. We usually go a lot.
We have hardly gotten ice. I mean, like smaller ponds have got it, but like I was just out at Lake Michigan last weekend, like still thawed.
It's weird.
It is.
It's really weird. It's like just enough. It's just warm enough that it's not freezing.
Mm-hmm. I'll take it though. And that means more snow for us potentially, like lake effect. But
yeah, but it's also colder. Like it's messy out, so you can't really enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah.
So I'd like to have the ice and frozen, so I could at least go outside. But anyways, hey, speaking of which, I know some people don't like the long rambling of me and Bill in the beginning, and that's okay. We're okay with that, aren't we, Bill?
No, what? Who doesn't like us talking?
Some people, and maybe you don't like the interview. Maybe you don't like the another news segment. So what we've done is, I don't know if you've noticed, but last week we actually took the episode and broke it down by the minutes. So you can choose what you want to listen to and when you want to listen to it.
So you can skip ahead?
You can skip us. We're not that great. We're not that important.
Wow. That's a pretty neat feature. I can't even say it.
I can't believe it took me so long to think of that, but I had some feedback from one of our listeners, and I thought, you know what? That's a great idea. They didn't say, Jeff, you suck. They just said, hey, have you ever thought about this? I'm like, okay, cool.
I wouldn't mind skipping the opening if you guys are just going to keep talking.
Right, exactly. I don't know, but if you saw what the show notes, there's
I did.
From last week, there was a one that says Jeff imitates Bill's mom, and you can skip right to that.
I did see that.
I thought that was funny. But in the meantime, in other news, Bill, are you familiar with alligators at all?
Yeah.
You ever seen a live one?
I don't think I've seen a live alligator. I've never been to Florida, other than an airport. And that doesn't count. That's not Florida. That's just where you get the coronavirus.
I was on a cruise. No, but in Texas we have alligators. Like my dad lives in outside of Baytown, a little area called Cove.
That blows my mind that there's alligators in Texas too. I know they're all over the Gulf states like Mississippi, Alabama.
Right.
But I don't picture them in Texas.
Well,
Louisiana too, right?
Louisiana, and so my dad doesn't live too far from Louisiana. He lives between Baytown and Orange, which is on the border of Texas. So he actually has in his county more alligators per capita than anywhere else in the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
In his county?
In his county, yeah.
Wow.
I think he's in Liberty County, I think. But I didn't grow up. He moved since I've grown up, so I'm not super familiar with where he lives, But we used to have these things in the backyard called Alligator Gar. Now, it's not an alligator.
They lived in your backyard?
Well, we had a ditch in the backyard when I was growing up. Well, kind of in the backyard. It was a couple streets over. It was like this big culvert with a river going through it that fed into the Brazos River, that fed into the Gulf of Mexico. It's like all these runoffs. And we used to go back there and catch these huge alligator gar, and they would break us off. And it's not an alligator. It's different than an alligator, but it definitely looks prehistoric. And so what's so crazy is it fed into the Brazos River, and we would get gar coming up. Well, this Houston area teen catches a 7-foot, 190-pound alligator gar just outside the Brazos River. Look at this thing.
Wow.
That's a freshwater fish.
Yeah. Holy cow. How big is the Brazos River?
It's big.
Like, in comparison to like the rivers around here, the big ones we got, like the Grand, Muskegon.
It's probably like the Muskegon, wide.
No kidding.
Yeah. And it's dirty. It's dirty water because everything, all the soot and everything from upstream is all coming out the Brazos River.
Gotcha.
Lots of refineries.
Yeah. Ew.
So it's a muddier water, but there's good fishing there. It's not like bad fishing. And we used to fish. It also goes to toward the intercoastal and all that. So it's a fine place to fish.
That a kind of fish you would eat too? Or is it like a bottom feeder, or what is
I
it?
personally wouldn't eat it. It's almost like it's really bony, almost like a pike, almost or something. Like you probably could eat alligator gar.
I heard pike is tasty
if you make it right. Real bony though. I think I've never eaten a pike before, but it's kind of the same way. But look, I mean, if you look at this thing, and we're gonna post this on our socials.
Yeah,
it really looks like it's prehistoric.
It does.
A teen from Needville recently caught a powerful, in quotes, powerful. I don't know why you got to put quotes around powerful. Are you quoting him saying that?
Well, it could be powerful to this teen, but not like a 30-year-old man who like lifts a lot of weights. I mean, then it's not a very powerful fish. Then he just pulled it right out of the water.
A powerful 7-foot, 190-pound alligator gar at a creek just outside the Brazos River on February 1st. Now, I doubt it's the creek I used to fish, because I fished on a creek just outside the Brazos River, and they used to get big. But I mean, that is just...
It's a monster.
Yeah.
I mean, you would see that in a creek, wouldn't you? You would see this thing swimming.
You even see the smaller ones. You see them. Yeah. It may have taken 30 minutes, but Jack Pidle, I think that's pronounced, came up with the biggest catch of his life. Pidle, an 18-year-old from Needville, caught what he called a powerful 7-foot. That's why it's in quotes, because it's powerful. Powerful 7-foot, 190-pound alligator gar February 1st in a creek near the Brazos River in Fort Bend County. So it's not in Brazoria County where I grew up. Pidle said he was bank fishing for catfish when he hooked the gar, adding that the catch was his personal best. As soon as he hooked the gar, he said he immediately knew it wasn't an ordinary fish. It had a lot of power, he said.
Powerful.
Lots of powerfuls in here. Pidle finally caught the big girl after a 30 again quotes the big girl after a 30-minute battle. Pidle said he usually Pidle said he usually releases all his catches, but handed over the gar to a friend's father. Consumption bans on gar are limited in parts of Lavaca Bay and Donna Irrigation System, according to Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. So you're not supposed to eat them probably because there's nasties in them.
Ew.
Yeah, but that's crazy. Look at that thing.
That's a big. It's a big fish.
Look at he's a tall dude, and the gar is longer than he is.
Yeah.
Holy cow! You guys have to see these pictures. Go on our socials. Look at that hanging up like
next
that.
to him.
Oh, dude! Columbia Lakes, just in Brazoria County, they pulled out a giant. I think it was like a 12-foot alligator out of a swimming pool. I have to put that up sometime.
Wow!
A lot of my friends lived out there. Can you imagine going swimming in your swimming pool and there's a huge alligator in there?
Ugh.
Oh, anyways, this week I'm super excited because we have another friend coming to Texas with us, not Justin Barclay, because I've called him Justin Barclay on here like an idiot, but it's Chris Barclay. Justin Barclay is the local DJ in Grand Rapids. This is Chris Barclay, the rod building ninja, and I'm very excited to have him on, Bill.
Awesome.
Yeah, so welcome to the podcast. Let's light the fire. We're getting the band back together, like they said on Blues Brothers. We have Chris Barclay, and he already had me rolling when he answered the phone and said, "Hello, this is Justin," because I called him Justin a few episodes ago.
And now everybody does, actually. My son called me Justin the other day. he listened to that. He was like, "So, good morning, Justin."
We got Justin Barclay. You see, and we got Brandon Sweet Cheeks Bales.
Yeah, that's right.
But see, Sweet Cheeks is kind of a funny name, but when it comes to Justin, that's just like a legit first name. So it's
yeah. Yeah. It can be very real.
It's not like it's not like Broccoli Rob or something like that from the college days. It's Justin.
Yeah.
But in all fairness, we do have a radio DJ in town named Justin Barclay.
Well, that does legitimize it a little bit.
A little bit, but still, it's kind of a little bit. But that's me. I get emails all the time. Jeff, you shouldn't have said this. You shouldn't have said that.
That's what makes your podcast so fun. and honestly, the only one that I listen to.
Oh man, well, thanks. Yeah, I usually respond was, can you leave a review and put that comment in there so that way I could at least get some algorithm traffic off your complaints. But
Ooh, that's smart.
I don't.
Any press is good press, I guess.
I guess, dude. How have you been, man? How's business doing down there?
It's good. It's good. Really enjoying it. I'm looking forward. We haven't had much of a winter, but I'm looking forward to whatever we've had to be over.
Yeah.
I love springtime. I love seeing the little flowers, and the crocus and daffodils and stuff start coming up at the very beginning, and it couldn't come soon enough.
Oh.
But business has been good. I'm got orders for about 3 months out, and I have, as usual, I have nothing to complain about. I still complain, but I don't have anything to complain about.
Do you have a headset on?
I do. Is it working okay?
Could you talk directly into your phone? Is that possible?
Yeah.
I think that's going to give us a
Is
better
it
reception.
picking up? Does it pick up everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me figure out how to do it. I'm not real good with headsets. One time I answered the phone on my regular phone, but my headset picked up, and it was playing Bob Dylan in the background. And the guy that was calling was like, what kind of on-hold music do you have? Right. How do I do this?
Which what was it? Blonde on Blonde? What was the album you were listening to?
It was the song was Masters of War.
Ah, okay.
The real happy song. Oh, it's okay. All right, how's that?
That's better. That's way better.
Got my sultry monotone going there.
Yeah.
That's what my wife calls it. Sorry. Too much?
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. I all of Dylan's songs are super positive and happy, and that's why I'm a huge fan of Dylan. You know.
Yeah, same here.
That's it really cheers me up in the morning. I get up, drag myself out of bed and I put on some good Dylan, and I'm happy the rest of the day. It just cheers me up.
It you know what? I think we share some DNA or something. Because I made a playlist called Hope recently on Google Play, and it's pretty much all depressing blues songs. But it makes me feel good,
It's funny because it's ironic, Yeah, it's called Hope, but there's no hope in you.
There's no hope in the words necessarily. There's one song that says "I'll be your friend," and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You listen to Guy Davis at all?
No, I don't.
He's a modern blues guy that's just fantastic. Really enjoy him.
Actually, I've heard a little bit of him. Actually, now that you say that, but
yeah, I think he does a lot of Broadway stuff for some reason.
Oh, interesting.
And blues music, so that pretty much fits together.
Yeah, is that his real name, or is he playing off like Buddy Guy and Miles Davis?
Oh, I have no clue. I'll ask him next time I talk to him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys are good friends, but
yeah, we hang out and stuff. We jam.
You got, I'm looking forward to that. You're going down to Aaron Reed's in May for his book release.
Yeah.
And I told Aaron by the time the book comes out, he's going to be a freaking R&P legend because I talk about him on every single episode.
Well, as he should be. I mean, he's like the godfather of the only podcast that I ever listened to.
he's the old hand. You got to have one of those guys that just are really, really knowledgeable. And in his book, Fly Fishing Austin in Central Texas, you too can idolize Aaron Reed. But you're coming down to Texas. I'm looking forward to jamming with you, doing a little
yeah.
Plan.
Oh man, I'm excited.
Yeah,
it'll be fun. I'm going to bring a guitar, and I'm looking forward to hearing you. I've been listening to your stuff quite a bit lately, actually, and just enjoy it quite a bit.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I look forward to it. We've been playing out a lot more. And it's been good. And a lot of it's because Aaron Reed, because he invited me down to play this show. And I'm like, I got to start playing out. And the next thing you know, things are just kind of cooking. And it's been amazing. Yeah. So, but as far as your rods, like I was on your website this morning, and I don't know if people have been on heard your previous episode. So if they have, I apologize. But if you have a memory like mine, you probably don't remember much anyways. It's not like I put things out there and I expect people to remember. Like I don't ask people questions like, do you listen to our podcast? Because I know 9 times out of 10 they probably don't. And so I don't expect people to remember the fantastic last episode. But you're a rod builder, and especially you specialize in fiberglass rods, correct?
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
How did you end up focusing on fiberglass versus like bamboo or anything like that?
Well, I love the craftsmanship that goes into making a bamboo rod, but to be totally honest, it takes 80 hours, give or take, to make one bamboo rod, and it takes me about 12 to make a fiberglass rod.
Oh wow!
And it was just a practical thing. I've made a couple, and I love the process, but I don't think I would be able to feed my family doing that, because I'm just a slow worker. I'm just not a very fast person, as you can tell by the way I talk.
Yeah.
A friend of mine in the last podcast, who usually he usually listens to podcasts on like 1 or 2 times faster than real, and he didn't for mine for some reason, but I noticed the timestamp on mine was like a whole 15 minutes longer than everybody else's. So I just go slow.
Yeah, and I know it's interesting because we both had a very unique life-changing experience in St. Louis. You were working at the seminary, right?
Yeah. There are several seminaries. I was working at Covenant Seminary there. Now,
what were you doing for them exactly?
I was the supervisor of general maintenance.
Did your pace benefit you, or did it hurt you in that environment? Your slower pace.
It hurt me.
Yeah.
It hurt me. A lot of things needed to be done in a very emergency-oriented manner. And I would respond quickly, but it would produce enormous anxiety in me, and I just grew to really not enjoy it whatsoever. At first, I did. I enjoyed helping people, and I liked the environment there. But back when they laid me off, it was a relief.
Now I noticed on your website there's some videos, and they're awesome videos. I was watching them this morning. There's 2 videos on there. One of them says Barclay Fly Rods, St. Louis, Missouri. Did you start the company in St. Louis while you were there? While you were at the seminary?
I did. Yeah. I basically started building rods, the company part, in the evenings. I needed a creative outlet essentially, and building rods just turned out to be what made sense and what I enjoyed the most. And when I was in St. Louis, I basically would spend all my spare time either fishing, hanging with my family, or building rods. And I didn't sleep a whole lot because I needed to sit down at my bench and work on rods and stuff. And nighttime was a good time to do it.
Do you work out of your basement, or do you have a shop off site somewhere?
I have a guest bedroom in our house that I've taken over. The walls are lined with rods and fishing stuff, and that's where I spend that's where I am right now. I have a basement where all my woodworking tools are, and just do all the dirty, dusty stuff down there.
Does your house smell like fiberglass or not really?
It does not. It smells like camphor wood right now, actually. I got a shipment of real seat wood yesterday, and I walked into my shop office this morning, and it was just kind of overwhelming. Do you know what camphor smells like?
No, I don't. Tell me.
Do you know what mentholatum is?
Sure.
The ointment stuff?
Yeah.
It smells just like that.
Oh, wow. Does it clear your sinuses?
It does. Yeah.
Really?
It's pretty awesome. I love it. I did a blog post on this a while back, but I discovered this wood when my friend Tomo Ijuin from Japan sent me a few pieces to try out. And I was like, man, this smells just like my grandma. And because she and my mom, who every year for Christmas, I get a jar of mentholatum from my mom. And so it just reminds me of people that I love. And it's a pretty wood, too. So I started using that on a pretty much standard basis.
Where do you source that from, Chris?
It comes from Japan, the stuff that I get, and a friend in Cedar Rapids stabilizes it for me and sends it on to me.
What is that stabilizing process? They let it dry out and make sure that it's not, since it's coming from Japan, do they got to make sure there's no like invasive species on it, that kind of thing, or?
No, you can use it unstabilized. It just turns a little bit better and will handle moisture. Being on a fly rod, it'll be submerged sometimes and things like that. So really, essentially it's the injection of epoxies or some kind of plasticizing kind of thing into the wood grain to just make the grain stable. And some of the grain is pretty wild and crazy. And when you turn it on a lathe, the blade of the tool you're using to turn it can dig in and take out a huge chunk. And this helps prevent that.
How many rods?
It doesn't really have anything to do with invasive species.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Again, showing my ignorance.
Oh no, yeah.
That will. But I know sometimes that when you import things from other countries, there's like a process, especially when it comes to like live products. But I guess it's dead. But so I didn't know. Just, and I don't know if my listeners know. Maybe all of the listeners know except me, and I look like an idiot. But I'm okay with that.
Well, I explained it a lot, so that's okay.
Yeah, you did. And I apologize to our listeners if they already knew that, but I do my best.
Well, it's okay. I think you do your best. And I think that's all we should expect from you.
So,
I don't mean to sound condescending, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay, big guy. It's okay. We're trying.
Is it hot in here?
I had a boss when I was right out of college. I went into the mortgage business, and I had a boss and very traditional type relationship with his wife. Very she's stays home with the kids and very subservient and just very the old school way. And he used to call her kiddo on the phone all the time. All right, kiddo. And I'm like, who are you talking to? He's like, my wife.
Man.
So I tried that with my wife one time. It didn't go over too well.
You don't say.
Speaking of condescending.
Yeah, gosh, man.
But he was a super nice guy, very nice.
Yeah,
he's probably one of the best bosses I've ever had.
Yeah,
but it was just interesting.
He probably meant well, but
Yeah, I would. Anyways, I digress. More hate mail, but anyways, so actually, when I was down in Texas this past summer, was it this summer? Yeah, this past summer with Aaron, I did fish one of your rods, and it took a little getting used to. What's the learning curve like on that when you're coming from like a traditional rod, fly rod? What's kind of like the learning curve on that, and what are some of those things that people experience when they first get the rod?
Yeah. A lot of the time it takes, it depends on what you're coming from. If you're used to traditional bamboo or old 50s, 60s, 70s era fiberglass, it's a little bit shorter of a learning curve. But with just about anything, I suggest people to go out in the yard, go out to a park or somewhere, and put their reel on, run a line through it, and just start wiggling it, and just gently, just watch the curve of the rod and kind of get to know it a little bit. It ends up being sort of an extension of you, and when you're casting it, watch how the rod bends and responds to the line with just 20 feet out or something like that, and it will make you slow down a little bit. It'll make you be more conscious of the process of casting and laying out line and things like that. And sometimes people just don't end up not agreeing with it at all, and that's totally fine. And it doesn't work for every situation, for sure. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, when people just give it a little bit of time, give it 15 minutes a day or something like that, for a few days, they'll get the feel of it, and they'll end up liking it quite a bit.
I had never fished fiberglass before until the summer with Aaron, and we were fishing smaller streams, that he took me in, low water, and it was definitely a learning curve, because like you say, go in the backyard and try to. I just went out there and fished, right? Because I just show up and it's like, here's a rod, and it was really frustrating at first, like. I believe it. And I think I was using one of Brandon Bale's flies, so that's probably what it was. But I just totally kidding.
It's all Brandon's fault.
Sweet cheeks.
Sweet cheeks' fault.
But I was like, it took me a little bit. It took a little bit of getting used to, with the back cast and trying to roll cast it. Even was because there's some trees and different things like that. It's just. It does. I think you're right. It does slow you down, and I think there's a beauty to that as well. Having to be very, very intentional with it. Yeah.
That's exactly it, and that's one reason I love fiberglass, and decided to make that primarily what I build. I do build other materials, but I stick my design work with fiberglass, and because it's slow. It helps you to focus more on the process and not, if you try to muscle it, it'll talk back to you and tell you, that's just, you just pushed me too hard. I'm not going to cast for you that well. My rods don't actually talk to people, but if they did talk, that's what they would say.
That's what they would say. That's what they say. Now, your rods are also they're kind of a unique color. Are all of them kind of the same mustard like color, or?
I like to call it fresh mango.
Fresh mango. It's sweet. It's very cool. Are all your rods that color then? That's kind of a
I've got one black rod. It's a little. It's a 7'6" weight that a friend of mine started calling a little stiffy. And trying not to laugh right now, but because it's very juvenile. But it started. Apparently, the nickname got out, and that's what it's called now. But that's the only darker color rod that I have. But actually, I sent a rod to a guy out in Western North Carolina earlier this week, and his daughter said, "Yeah, that looks like a mango color." So that's what I'm starting to call it now.
Mango. You see, you don't necessarily have to you don't necessarily have to change the design or anything like that. Just change the name of the color and just keep the color.
Yeah.
But when things are getting hot, you got to market it right. You got to just change the name of the color. Don't change the color. Just change the name of the color.
That's exactly right. And that's part of the secret here. I revealed it right now.
Now, your dog, does he fish with you often?
Yeah. Stella, she is with me at pretty much every given moment. Like even right now, she's right next to me. But she fishes with me unless I'm in a boat or a raft that can be punctured by toenails. I usually, if I'm fishing with a new person, I ask them if they mind if she comes along. Usually they say yes, but sometimes they just don't like dogs, and I fish with them once, and that's it. Because they failed.
Well, as Aaron Reed, bringing him up again, he recently acquired a dog and wrote a blog post called "Your Dog Will Find You."
Yeah.
How did you and Stella meet?
Oh man, that's a pretty cool story. So we were living in St. Louis and it was around 2000. We've had her for 5 years. So what's the math on that one? 2015 or something like that. My wife's aunt came to visit from Dallas, and we were talking about dogs and things like that. And we had a couple of beagles before, and just loved them, but they had a mind of their own. They would not fish at all. They would just run, and I'd never see them again. So I never really took them anywhere. And I wanted a blue heeler or Australian cattle dog because I'd had good experiences with them and knew that they were loyal and friendly and just good dogs to have around. And I was working from home, so I thought, this is a good time to have a dog. And so when I was talking to Valerie's aunt about dogs, she's like, okay, yeah, I'll keep an eye out. And this was probably April or something like that. And at the end of May, she sent me a text saying, hey, I found a blue heeler that's looking for a home here in Dallas. And I thought, okay, great. Then I just thought, this is not good timing. I'm not going to worry about it. And then Valerie and I went out on a date. There's these cool Art Hill movies in the summertime at the St. Louis Art Museum, and we were watching, I don't know, one of those fancy old movies, Casablanca or something like that. And I brought up that her aunt had sent me information about a dog that was looking for a home, and it sounded perfect. She was 2 years old, had kind of been passed around from one family member to another, and because of energy levels and just time and things like that, being able to take care of a dog. And it's like, well, I'm trying to do more walking and exercising around the neighborhood. It's kind of awkward for me to just be a single dude walking around the neighborhood where there's a school
with a camera
and stuff. Yeah, with a camera and a school and
and a zoom lens.
yeah, zoom lens. And people look at me strange. Like, hey, that's a creepy tall white dude walking around the school. What's he doing? But if he has a dog, it's normal.
Yeah.
So I was like, that'd be good. I should get a dog. And so I talked to Valerie, and she got up to go get. And she was like, well, would you be willing to vacuum every week? I said, heck yeah. So then she got up to go get a taco from one of the food trucks or something like that. And I turned around and called the guy that had Stella. And he's like, yeah, we talked a while, and I told him why I was interested in the dog and things like that. And he's like, well, it sounds like a good fit. We were going to be in Dallas about 2 weeks from then, and decided, I said, well, can you hold her for a couple of weeks till we can get to Dallas? He's like, yeah, that'd be great. So we went and met, got to town and met near Valerie's mom's house, and at a park, and we pulled up, and they pulled up, and Stella jumped out of the car. She had never been on a leash before. She was taught how to sit and give you 5. But that was really about it. But she was so incredibly smart that she just she's very intuitive. She picks up on things. And I knew that because she was a herding dog, that she was that they have a tendency to nip at kids' feet and things like that when they run. So we were at a soccer field, so I sent my son Graham off to, I just said, run across the field and see what she does. And I guess I was putting his life at risk, or at least his ankles. But I felt pretty good about the decision. And she ran after him, and she circled him, and then they came back, and that was it. She kind of herded him, but wasn't really super active about it. And I was like, well, this is the right dog for us. And we finished our Texas tour, and we're driving back to St. Louis, and picked her up a week later. And spent 14 hours in the car with her as soon as we got her. And then the next day I went fishing with a guy, went smallmouth fishing outside of St. Louis, and she was just the perfect fishing dog from the get-go. And I couldn't believe it, really. And my friend DJ that I fished with, he was pretty impressed and affirming about how good of a dog she was. So I was like, yeah, this is gonna stick. And that was almost 6 years ago at this point.
Wow, and she's pretty much by your side from morning to night, huh? Till you go to bed.
Yeah. I like if I can't find her, I have to look closer. She's like directly behind me, or something like that. Which if you're cooking in the kitchen and you have to go from the stove to the fridge to the sink or something like that, then you trip over and you say, okay, go sit in the doorway, Stella, and she will. And but I've never done any training with her, really, except for just vocal, hey, Stella, you're doing something wrong here. Can you fix that? And she understands what I'm saying. And
wow.
And she does. It's pretty incredible.
That's pretty awesome. Fly anglers and their dogs. It's
yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
It's fun.
Well, if someone wants to order a fly rod from you or get in touch with you, other than coming to Aaron Reed's book release party, he just wrote a book called Fly Fishing Austin and Central.
Which, to give credit to the book, it's the best guidebook of any sort I've ever read.
Dude,
and many of my friends agree. It's so personal. It's very Austin-y.
Yeah.
In its personality, and so complete. Mm-hmm. I just have to say that. So there.
Yeah, it is good. But other than that, how would people reach you?
Usually through my website, there's a contact form. I'm on all the social media platforms that I'm aware of. I don't know some of the fancy ones that the kids are using these days, but Instagram's probably the main one, and Facebook's Facebook. And that's about it. Message me through there, or talk to one of the people that has my phone number and give me a call or something like that.
Great. We'll put all those links in the show notes. And as always, Chris, I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your artwork. I appreciate all you do for fly fishing and just for being a friend. And just,
yeah, man.
Especially with, when you're creating art, you don't know what it's like. I mean, your wife or your friend can tell you that can tell you, oh, this is great, but you don't know. But as I've been playing out more and like just the text from you and the text from my friends, it's really meant a lot. And I just want to say thank you for being a good friend.
Yeah, music is a hugely, hugely important thing for me. There's not a day that I don't have music going. And a lot of times it's your music, and I love it. It gets to a place in a person that most things don't reach. So that's it's just beautiful. It's good stuff, man.
Well, thanks, man. Well, I look forward to meeting up. It's like Brandon said, it's like a reunion. We've never really met in person. So
isn't that crazy?
I look forward to it.
All our E-friends are getting together and we're forming the band again.
We're on a mission from God.
Yeah, that's right. That's it.
All right, brother. Well, man, have a great day, and thanks again for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it.
thanks again for joining us on the Remote No Pressure podcast. Be sure to check out our socials.
Yeah.
I mean, and leave a review. And the reason we like reviews is because it helps with algorithms.
Yeah.
It's all like the science thing.
Science.
You leave it. I tell you what, you leave a review. The next 5 people to leave a review and email me, I'll send you a free decal from Remote No Pressure.
Wow.
I'm willing to do that because I want reviews. It's not that we don't need to stroke our egos.
No.
We make
But
fun
it's
of.
nice.
We make fun, but it feels good. Makes me feel better about myself.
What are you doing down there?
Leave me alone, Mom. Stroking the ego. Shower sure is long. Leave me alone, Mom. Stroking my ego. Are you stroking your ego? No.
This went nowhere quick.
Oh my God.
This went nowhere quick. Sorry, people.
No one's listening.
No.
Oh, here's the deal, though. But when you leave those reviews, it helps with our algorithms. That gets more people downloading, more people find the Remote No Pressure podcast. That will help.
Keeps us going.
It keeps us going. So be sure to check that out. Leave us a review on iTunes and wherever you listen. Follow us on our socials because we're goofy. Also, Texas, May 8th, I believe it is Thursday. Come out. You can see me and Wild Bill together.
Mm-hmm.
You can see Aaron Reed. You can see Chris Barclay. You can see Brandon Bales. I think Davin Topol's going to be there. I mean, we're going to have a good R&P crew. Brad Boone's going to be there.
Wow. A lot of them.
Yeah. We do have a designated survivor who's not coming from the R&P crew. So we're
A designated survivor?
yeah, just in case we all die, the show must go on.
Oh, good.
We have them in the they're ready to go in case something happens.
That's good. Good thinking.
Yeah, but thank you guys so much for listening. Until next time, go fishing.